this video, we're going to learn about how to combine like terms. So when we talk about combining like terms, we're actually talking about simplifying these expressions based off of the different numerical values and variables that we have, meaning that these variables that have a letter x in it, we actually combine those. So what we want to do first is we want to actually group these in next to each other, so it makes it a little bit easier that we add or subtract these. So we have two instances of a value with x. We group those together, and then we group the constants. We have 6 and we have -3. So we group those next to each other. Now what we do is we actually add or subtract these together. So we have this 9x and we have this 7x. Whenever we want to group these together, we really just take a look at the numerical values that are in front, meaning that we have a 9 minus 7, and we just subtract or add those, and then we'll put the value or the variable that's afterwards next to it. So 9 minus 7 will give us 2 and that x. Then we're going to group these together. Since these are just constants, right? It's just a numerical value. That's 6 minus 3, and that's going to be 3. So we've simplified this function now to where it is just now 2x plus 3. Moving on to the next example here, you'll actually notice that we have three different variables that we're taking a look at. We have an x squared, we have an x, and then we have our constant. Now it looks like we have two instances of x squared. We have 3x squared and we have 7x squared. Now we put these values first on our list because we always place it in order to the amount or the exponents that we see. So x squared is higher than x cubed would be even higher than that, and x4, x to the fifth, etc. So we have x squared, we group those first. Then we're going to group the x variable, which we have as -6x, and we have positive 12x, and then it looks like we have our constants 2 and -7, and we've grouped those together. Now we follow the same protocol that we did right here, is that we actually just are going to be adding or subtracting the numerical values that are next to that variable. So we would have that 3 plus that 7, we would group those together, and then we're going to have x squared next to it. So if we take that, 3 plus 7 will give us 10x squared. Now we can do the same here. We don't have to actually go through each process of adding this out. This just makes it easier for us to take a look at. We'd have -6x plus 12x, just looking at those numerical values. -6 plus 12 will give us a positive 6x. And then we take our constants, which are 2 minus 7, and that's going to give us -5. And that'll be your answer for that. Now moving on, we're going to take a look at when we have two variables, meaning that we actually have two different letterings. We have an x and now we have a y. So we always follow when we have the highest exponents, we're going to put those values next to each other first. And then what we'll do is we're going to take a look. We have x and we have y. We always go in order of the alphabet. So x goes first before y. So we're going to add this -6x next. And then we'll move on to our y values, which we have are 2y plus 4y. And we'll add those all together. Now again, we always have our x squared first, or whatever value has the highest exponent is always going to be on the left-hand side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add those together or subtract them. So we have 4x squared. Then it looks like we have a single -6x. Then we have a 2y plus a 4y, which will give us 6y. And this will be our final answer. Now moving on to our next example, you'll notice that we have y squared, and we have x squared. So again, we always go in order of our alphabet, and then in order of how many exponents that we have. So it looks like we have an x squared, and we have a 5x squared. We're going to group those together first. Then what we're going to take a look at is the next one that has a highest exponent, which is going to be y squared. So it looks like we got a 4y squared. And then it looks like we have a -3y squared. We're going to group that next to each other as well. Okay, so with that, it looks like we've gotten rid of all of our squared functions. So now let's go into our y's, it looks like. We don't have any x's. So now we have 9y minus 8y. We're going to put those next to each other. And then we'll take a look at our constants, which it looks like we have a -6. So we're going to add or subtract these all together. And if we do that, we're going to get 6x squared plus y squared plus y minus 6. And that'll be our answer. Now we're going to take a look at an instance where we have multiple variables, meaning we have x squared y squared. Looks like we got xy. We got x squared y. We have xy squared. So when we have these instances, again, we always go in the order of the alphabet, and then we go for how many exponents we have within those instances. So it looks like the biggest one we have is x squared y squared, right? We have two instances where we have exponents of x squared, y squared. So we got that here and here. We're going to group those together. So we've got 2x squared y squared plus 6x squared y squared. And then what we'll do, again, we always go in order of the alphabet. So it looks like we have an instance of x squared y. And it looks like we have two instances of that. We have minus 3x squared y plus x squared y. Now, since we've added those together, we want to look for any instance where we have x, y squared, because again, that is going to follow the alphabet and then as well as the exponents. So it looks like we have one instance of that, which is 2x, y squared. And then following that, it looks like we just have xy. So that's going to be minus xy minus 4xy. Now we're going to add and subtract those instances together. And what we're going to get is we're going to get 8x squared y squared minus 2x squared y plus 2xy squared minus 5xy. We can't simplify that anymore. That's going to be our final answer.